Thanks very much for being still here. There's actually 10 minutes reserved for me. So I'm trying to go through my research and what we are doing at Sussex University rather quickly. So I hope stay with me and I give you a little flavor of things to come in human-computer interaction, so how we are interacting with technology in the future. And as already mentioned, it's at the University of Sussex in the School of Engineering and Informatics. We have the Creative Technology Research Group where the SCHI, or SCHI Lab, is positioned. And that's basically the lab I established, and we are running about 9 months now. And we are focusing on touch, taste, and smell interfaces and particular experiences we can have with technology. And as some before, I'm starting with a bit of looking back in history, and I just want to show you the feel around. Okay, I think you got enough. If you want to see it, there is the Kentucky Fried Movies from 1977. So the question I would ask is that meaningful multisensory experience design? Do you really kind of want to go into the cinema and have this kind of multisensory stimulations? Well, there is a lot of discussions and a lot of push towards exploring new sensory experiences for interactive technologies. A lot of kind of devices and technology actually pop out for smell scent release, but also for taste stimulation on your tongue, where you kind of clamp your tongue in a device and get some electrical thermal stimulations, but also a lot around tactile stimulations as well. So the question we try to kind of answer in our lab is, what are kind of meaningful experiences? What are tactile experiences we can design for where they are meaningful? But also, what gustatory experiences we can design for? Where does taste actually play a role when we are talking about the computational context? It's not about food. It's not about kind of putting something in your mouth which is kind of related to just eating experiences. It's about thinking about the basics of taste experiences. So we have basic tastes, and you can have bitter with certain characteristics for interaction design, but you can also have sour and sweet. So there's a lot of things we are trying to explore by going back and really understanding what are the parameters, what are the features, and can they be useful in a certain way when we are interacting with technology. But also then the other one is our olfactory sense, and we heard it in the first presentation. There are a lot of drawbacks and opportunities as well. We need to understand what kind of olfactory experiences, what kind of taste or tactile experiences can we design for. So that's basically where we're trying to push forward the experiential elements and then to inform the design of the technology, and not just like, yeah, new gadget, new gimmicks, and we try them out. Of course, we do that as well, but we are trying to understand where we can actually push forward in the future. So how are we going to do that? And I only have time to give you a glimpse on one project we did, a glimpse beyond screen, where we actually explored tactile experiences and what could be the role for tactile experiences to stimulate certain experiences or emotions. And just a quick movie on that. And when you see that disappearing the other hand, it's not just a kind of a visual effect. It's actually because we are using Midair Haptic technology. So you are actually feeling without touching. So that's the technology we are using in our lab. It's an array of ultrasound speakers. So you're moving your hand above it like you would do a certain gesture. But instead of not having any feedback, you are getting actually a focal point or a sensation like rain, like blowing through a straw, or when you're holding your hand out of a driving car. So you're feeling something on your hand, and you can actually modulate that and create different kind of experiences and sensations. And what we were actually interested to understand is, how can we actually relate this kind of tactile sensation with emotions, which we can actually create and elicit through this technology. And as you have seen in the short summary movie, it really kind of comes down to specific parameters we identified. It's not just about touching, it's about the way you are touching. So we could see there is kind of the different parts. See, we only explored the hand, but we have kind of the ambition to actually explore different parts of the body as well, because that's kind of an interesting element for more immersion. So you have different spatial orientations, you have different directions, which gives indication if something is actually something positive or is it something kind of more disturbing, and also how you modulate, if it's kind of a high frequency or low frequency, is it something strong or is it something subtle? So we can already start to kind of build up a framework for interaction design where you can use these new technologies. So, but that is only the beginning, and you could well imagine a scenario where it's useful, like in long-distance relationships. I don't know if you ever lived in it, but I have for a long time. And one thing which is absolutely disturbing is when you're on Skype and suddenly this silence. You don't know anymore what to say. So it's like, and if you would be in the same place and you're on the couch, then you just like put your hand across and touch, and it already means so much, but we can't do that through technology. And with our kind of really mobile lifestyle, our kind of all the time being somewhere, we still need to kind of connect to our loved ones. And that's one way where we thought where emotional tactile stimulations and experiences could be actually useful. But there are many more we're exploring, like for media and movies. How would it feel if you're looking interstellar and you're approaching the wormhole and suddenly you're getting kind of the sensations on your body, like you're sitting in the spaceship and you're flying through. So there's kind of this immersion. In certain ways you want it, but in others you may not. So, but the point why we are actually looking in exploring other sensory stimulations is because our world is multisensory. I mean, you not always consciously take them in. You're not always conscious about the smells around, the tactile sensations. You're not feeling how the floor below your feet is feeling. But if it's changing and it's getting rougher, or you're walking from the street to the beach, you feel it, and it gives you a different kind of experience. And kind of exploiting these often unconscious sensory experiences, integrating into technology, that is something we are quite excited. And that's where we can then actually look beyond the screen, behind the screen, and have a, well, I'm not using the natural or intuitive interaction with the environment, but it's something where we can actually make use of the integration of the different senses, what we're having anyway all the time with our everyday activities. But there are also new opportunities. The final thing, I want to show an example what we did last summer in Tate Britain. So we did a multisensory installation in Tate Britain where we stimulated the different kind of senses along with paintings, and this particular with abstract paintings, you can imagine that you can bring out certain elements, certain features of art, which you would otherwise kind of maybe not see, you are not attracted to that. So you cannot just give the visitors, the museum visitors, a new way of experiencing art, but you can also think about artists who find new ways of expressing what they want to actually communicate, which they are limited through paintings, through colors, and there are new ways of the tactile sensations maybe you want to communicate. So there are opportunities for us to look forward, and even like we have heard about people with visual impairments, but there are people with other sensory impairments. There's like taste and smell disorders or tactile limitations. So how can we understand the different sensory experiences and then basically provide people with an emphasis on the senses where they can actually experience them? So I want to basically close with a quote which hangs in our lab, which says, Mark Twain, they did not know it was impossible, so they did it. And basically that is true for when we started to go to the moon, but also the feel around. It might seem really kind of ridiculous in the first place, and it's quite funny when you watch the whole movie. But actually, I think there is a point there that we can actually start exploring the different senses. And even 100 years ago, they started to introduce smells and tastes in watching movies or multimedia or in theaters. So how far can we push it? And technology and our understanding of the neural system, of the sensory system, is advanced so much that bringing all this together is, for us at least, an exciting field. And well, you can't never do that alone, so you have a lot of collaborators and supporters which work with me together on these projects. And if you have any questions or want to know anything more, go on Multisensory Info. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them now. Thank you.